In the 90s, and in the maturity of his career, Subirachs carried out a series of works that reviewed or recreated some of the issues he had previously addressed. In a sort of reunion with the abstract language, which he practiced in the 60s, he conceived very polished sculptures, as much structurally as conceptually. They are pieces dominated by strong geometric forms, completely stripped of superfluous ornamentation, in which contrasting textures and colors are obtained by combining different materials in the same work and that take a leading role. This work helped Subirachs to devise the Francesc Macià monument located in Catalonia Square in Barcelona. The structure is marked by two pieces in the form of stairs placed in a staggered fashion. The block that serves as the pedestal represents the history of Catalonia, while the upper one symbolizes the country. To symbolize the idea of the union of East and West, in the South Korean city of Seoul, Subirachs sculpted a granite monolith with the Mobius strip as the protagonist. This element would represent the possibility to be on the obverse and reverse of the same surface at the same time, union without losing identity, understanding and tolerance between two different cultures. Finally, peace. This sculpture reminds us of Subirachs' interest in theatrical design. Two pieces create the illusion of a stage house in the center. There is a cube, a symbol of the stage. In the work titled Doser, the cube symbolizes the individual. Again, the pedestal functions as a metaphor of history. The message that these two elements send is that man builds his identity if he takes into account the legacy of the generations that have preceded him. The contours' irregularity and the veins drawn on the surface help to create the illusion that the piece is no more than a fragment of the universe in constant movement. The mathematical properties of this surface allow him to use it as a symbol of magic and mystery. Its formal properties, in turn, refer to infinity. It is still the cryptogram of 16 numbers, which add up to 33 in multiple combinations, horizontal, vertical, and diagonal, the age of Jesus when he was crucified. This figure reaffirms the enigma and mystery that emerges from the still life. Champollion is one of the key works of the metaphysical stage. Returning to the pyramid theme, Subirachs recreates it with renewed strength, and the result is a piece of great material solidity, purified in form and content. Among some of the versions that Subirachs has done based on myths, the Cretan palace inhabited by the Minotaur should be underscored, a subject that is represented as if it were a volumetric projection of an especially classic motif, the Greek key. The habitual circular form of the labyrinth becomes a geometric figure with right angles, and then the labyrinth has walls and 3 dimensions. This polychrome wood sculpture comes from a version of the ancient myth of Daedalus' labyrinth. It is an architectonic construction in the form of a basic square labyrinth. The access road to the palace is a flight of stairs, and its initial section has 13 steps, the symbolic number of misfortune that foretells the captivity of Daedalus within the construction created by himself. Spheres, a very common element in Subirachs' work, have maximum prominence in this piece. Thrust, linear repetition, progressive or regressive, and equilibrium. Three basic concepts in the artist's visual language are combined in an extremely simple piece. In this piece there are two niches that house a ball and a skull. The glass sphere evokes the perfection and immortality of the spirit, while the skull is a symbol of the mortality of the body. These works are radically removed from the points of view of his public works and specifically of his sculptural intervention in the Passion facade of the Sagrada Familia. An assignment of extraordinary proportions that has entirely eclipsed these free creative works, carried out with a servitude which was imposed by the monumental format, especially in such difficult a context as the Gaudian.
Jo crec que en aquesta obra de la Sagrada Família no hi ha el més creatiu de la meva obra, per tant, el que m'interessa és que l'altre sigui apreciat. El que passa que la Sagrada Família, doncs, pel seu tamany, diguem, i tot és tan espectacular, que sí que de vegades fa oblidar doncs, que hi ha una altra obra que en el fons té més interès i la gent distreta no la veu, no? És una etapa molt important dins de la meva biografia, dins de la meva vida. Ara, dins de l'estil, diria que no, jo crec que, en fi, abans, fins i tot paral·lelament, i fins i tot diria després, o sigui, en aquests dies que ara, diguem, hi ha coses molt creatives i que sí que marquen, perquè són més lliures i per tant és una obra llavors més creativa.
This work of painted wood is made up of two pieces. The horizontal piece symbolizes history, that is to say, what each person has contributed to the construction of humanity. The vertical piece is a symbol of art, the most beautiful fruit that a human being can leave on earth. Each colored wooden wall placed on a base of the same material symbolizes one of the 3 millennia of the Christian era. Sculptural revision of the Julian stair of understanding, each of the 8 steps symbolizes one of the creations: stone, fire, plant, beast, man, sky, angels, God. The first 3 belong to the material world, whereas the last 3 are part of the intellectual world. Man participates in both worlds, a duality that makes him vicious and virtuous at the same time. His choice will reduce him to the lower step or bring him closer to his superiors. This painting is supposed to be a tribute to Hypatia, the philosopher and mathematician who was killed while going to the library of Alexandria where she worked, The stairs are those in the historical library and, simultaneously, a metaphor for wisdom and knowledge. The draped, extracted object of the bust of Louis XIV, made by Bernini, is a symbol of the martyred character.
El fet decisiu que ens mostra la raó profunda del per què l'art existeix és la consciència que els humans tenim de la mort.